Good morning. This is the third episode of Ice by RI. I have invited Gil French, a longtime member and teacher, here just so that the members might get to know him a little bit better. I know him more than I want to know, and I thought that perhaps other people ought to be tipped off. So I guess I'd like to say welcome.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
I have a lot of unscripted questions to ask. How long have you been here?
I've been here for 10 years.
10 years. You've been going to school here?
Yes, I've been going to school here for 10 years.
Well, I'll ask you the same question that the dean of college asked me. Why is it taking you so long to graduate?
Well, it takes a long time to graduate from here, and I don't look forward to the graduation exercises.
Gil and I both went to a little college in Maine, so we're the only ones that went there. And we won't mention
We
the
weren't
name.
the only ones that went there. There were other people there too.
Anyway, I guess what I wanted to do is I wanted to let them know a little bit about you and about what you do. So, Gil, what do you do here?
I attend classes. I enjoy the society of this place very much. I taught classes ever since the second semester I've been here, which is probably 9.5 years now. So every semester I've taught at least one course.
You taught math at...
I taught math at Baltimore City College for probably 20 years.
Why did you do that? Why did you get going with that?
I happen to love math.
Okay.
That doesn't always go over
It's a
well
sickness,
with
you know that?
everybody. It's an illness that I contracted at a young age, and I enjoy that illness very much. I still love mathematics and would look forward to teaching it again. The problem I find is when you put the name mathematics in a course description, not too many people sign up for it. People are afraid of math.
Well, I think that's true. At this stage of the game, you always have to try and make things interesting,
Right.
and attractive. What are some of the courses that you taught here?
Well, I taught a course.
I just can't remember.
My original course was called Math for Grandparents,
Okay.
and that went over rather well.
Okay.
Then I taught another course called The Power of Thinking,
Okay.
and it dealt again with mathematical type of thinking.
Like, give me an example.
Well,
Like eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
sort of things. It was kind of an extension of the course that I had taught before, the mathematics course for grandparents, but it just went a little deeper into the things that we covered. We covered like arithmetic, algebra, geometry, and topics like that. A little tiny bit of probability.
I had to take probability in college. It was the least rigorous mathematics course that I could take.
Oh, really?
Darn near flunked that one. Sorry, I don't mean to disappoint you.
It was not my favorite course in college. There are a lot of other math subjects that are much more interesting to me anyway.
Okay.
But I love teaching. I think it's been so much fun. I'm very, very impressed with the quality of teaching in Renaissance. Even though many of the people who teach were not teachers. They just picked it up since they
Why do you think that is?
Well, they see what fun it is that people who teach are having, and they want to have a little bit of that fun too. It does take a lot of work. You have to put a lot of preparation into the courses. Now, these days I don't teach so much math anymore as I've sort of graduated into science.
What kinds of science?
Well, the first course I taught in science was called the Mad Scientists.
Yeah.
And it went over quite well. It was from a book that I had read called They Called Me Mad. And I sort of transcribed that book into a
Can you
book.
remember any characters that were particularly interesting in that? Or
Well,
what tickled you about it?
Well, Archimedes was one of the earliest ones. Hypatia, who was the only woman mathematician of the ancient age, and she was quite interesting. She came to a very bitter, horrible end, but I won't go into that.
Who was the guy that got caught? He had, something to do with an onion field.
I don't know.
He got Trapped, he's a mathematician.
Mhm.
Ancient, maybe I'm mixing stories. Okay, so you got mad scientist, you got 2 math courses. Was there anything else? And I know you taught tons, so.
Oh yeah, I've taught tons. So many of the courses have been science. I did a course called Science in the 17th Century, which covered people like Newton.
Okay.
I did start with Galileo and went through the British and Northern European mathematicians. Galileo was one of the Italian mathematicians, and he did a lot more than just mathematics. So that was one of the courses I taught.
So you're really melding history with math.
Yeah, I'm melding history with math.
Okay.
The last course that I've taught was a course called Water.
Okay.
And we just went through basically the history of water and what it's done to influence the development of civilization.
It's probably the biggest topic in the world today.
Oh, it is, and I only got halfway through.
About the Greeks. I read in the Washington Post science section this morning that they finally discovered a woman who was allergic to water.
Really?
Yeah, it's luckily, unfortunately, not for her, but for everybody else, it's a rare thing.
I wonder how she's lived so
How
long.
does she?
Mm.
Oh, are you teaching anything this fall?
This coming fall, I'll be teaching a course called Women of Science.
Okay.
And it will concentrate, of course, on the women who
Okay.
have contributed to science, of which there are a great number.
I think of Madame Curie right away.
Madame Curie would certainly be one of them, but there's a great many others, like Grace Hopper, right? Who's rather famous now because she's been on television talking about things like the speed of light and that sort of thing, and she's made quite a name for herself on television. She's a
I don't know her. What's her name again?
Grace Hopper.
Okay.
Grace Hopper. She was very instrumental in the development of computers. And she wrote the very first, a program that's still around called COBOL, is still used in business.
Very much for being with us today. Thank you for the episode 3. This is Gil French. Go to some of his classes, you'll have a ball.